Good afternoon, YouTube. Michael with Sailors with Cars. Michael with SailorsWithCars.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course on the webpage. Today, special guest, special car, Mr. Mike South. Mike is a retired sailor like myself. Mike has a beautiful 57 Chevrolet pickup truck that we're going to talk about today on the channel. And we're going to walk through the truck a little bit. Maybe we'll even go for a ride if we've got a few minutes left in the interview. But in the first part of this, we're going to talk to Mike just a little bit about his military background, being the whole channel is based on sailors, their background, what they've done. And of course, this is Memorial Day weekend, so special consideration to all those that lost their lives so that we can have this great freedom that we have today. So with that, Mike, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out.
You're welcome.
Mike's son is not on camera with us, but he's watching us pretty closely to make sure we don't screw this up. Thanks for coming out too. I appreciate it. So Mike, joined the Navy what year?
1959.
1959. That's just a few years ago. Where'd you go to boot camp at?
I went to boot camp San Diego.
Nice. So you went at 59. I think my father joined the Navy at 44. So just a little bit of time difference there. What was your first duty station?
I went to I went to A school in Great Lakes.
As a
and then electrician. Then I came back to San Diego to my first ship was a USS Snohomish County, a 542 class LST, 1126.
What propulsion?
Diesel.
Diesel propulsion.
All diesel.
All diesel.
And we had to learn everything about engineering on there.
And how long were you on that ship for?
Entire first enlistment, 2.5 years. Fireman to 2nd class.
Wow, long time on there. Made it through the rank quick.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward a little bit. What year did you make chief?
1967, November.
1967. Where were you?
8 years.
And where were you in 1967?
I just left my second ship, USS St. Paul, World War II era, all-gun heavy cruiser. And I was attending instructor training school at NTC San Diego in preparation for moving to recruit training command.
Okay. 1967, I was 3. So at least I was around when you made chief. So fast forward a little bit more. Now you are a retired naval officer commissioned under the Limited Duty Officer Program, same as myself. What year were you commissioned?
Well, prior to being commissioned, I was selected from chief to warrant officer, W1.
Okay, when they still had W1.
When they still had W1, we were in June of 1968. And when I made warrant officer, went to warrant officer indoctrination school in Newport, Rhode Island. And for 8 weeks had a fantastic school. And during those times, W1 walking around, people didn't know whether to salute you or burp you.
Did you?
Literally.
So
a 1/4-inch chin strap.
how was your insignia? It was not
Fouled. It was just a fouled anchor.
So not much different
Like a
than.
midshipman.
And what was the stripe?
1/4-inch.
1/4 inch.
Yeah.
Gold.
Yeah. Two years as a W1, and then I made W2.
What on the uniform changed? Anything from W1 to W2?
Yeah, full 1/2 inch. And the band on blues went from 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch.
I think you're the only person I've ever met that was a W1. I don't think I've ever met one.
Yeah.
You're like a unicorn.
Yeah.
Okay, so now did you stay a warrant or did you get
No,
commissioned?
Yeah, 2 years as a W1, and then I went to CWO2, and at that time I was on the USS Durham, LK 114.
Here in San Diego?
It was home ported. Actually, it was built in Newport News, Virginia, as a year nucleus crew. Myself and 2 other W1s were on there, all engineering. I was electrical auxiliaries. We had a warrant for machinery and a warrant for DC.
Nice.
And on that ship, other than We spent, out of that year, nucleus crew, at least 6 months going to school on everything on that ship, in the shipyard.
Now, so that ship was brand new?
Yeah, it commissioned in May of '69.
Wow.
And while I was on there, we had several deployments, and I asked after being engineer officer watch for a year or so underway, I asked the captain if I could come to the bridge, and he let me come to the bridge, and I qualified as formation steam and OOD, and entering and maybe for OOD. What a fantastic tour that was.
It's interesting that you use those terms, because I have only heard those terms through my father.
Really?
So my father was an engineer at LDO, and not to make this about him, not a warrant, but he was also a chief petty officer, permanent chief. There were no senior master chiefs at that time, and he was commissioned in 1959. So when he worked on his bridge quals, whereas in my generation, just an officer of the deck qualification, and then followed on with a surface warfare officer designation, which didn't exist when you and my father were in the Navy. But he used the terms formation steaming officer of the deck.
Yeah.
And you're the only other person I've ever heard use that qualification in terminology, which is interesting. So you learn a little history as you go along here. Okay, continue, please. Sorry.
So while I was on that Durham, I did become surface warfare qualified, and we went into some really neat ports. I think the first port I got to drive ship into was Kaohsiung, Taiwan. We were carrying Marine Corps gear out of several different bases in Japan. We got to drive through all that inland sea of Japan. In 1970, the ship went into Osaka, Japan, or Kobe, Japan. Expo 70 was going on in Osaka at that time. That was really something to see.
I'm sure.
And when we went into Kobe, something I'd never seen before, and I think it's rarely done. At the time, that was one of the busiest seaports in the world. When we went in and did a flying Medmore. Only time I'd ever seen that done. Both anchors on one chain to limit the swing.
Wow. I've never even heard of it.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, I'm going to back you up just a second. So when you first got commissioned as a W1, what vehicle were you driving, or what vehicle did you buy? Do you remember?
We had a 1965 Plymouth station wagon.
Okay.
And 4 kids.
4 kids.
Already.
Got it. Well, that makes sense that you would have a station wagon.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens after 1970?
I left the Durham in 1971, and I went to crew dispatch staff, material section. Another fantastic tour of duty for 2.5 years. I was assistant force electrical. We monitored every ship in crew dispatch at that time. I think there were over 150 ships in crew dispatch. Assistant force electrical. I also was the 692-710 type desk officer, the 1052 class type desk officer, and I also coordinated the turnover of 23 ships to 4 navies during that tour.
So the 1052s had to be a new ship at that time, were they not?
We used to keep track of DIWs on 1052s, dead in the water.
Yep, dead in the water. Yeah, because it's a funny that. So the 1052 class, now were they the 1,200-pound boiler ones? Yeah. But
right when I left the Durham, I made LDO. And fortunately, I got to go straight from CWO2 to JG.
To JG.
Yeah.
Got it. What was your first tour as or were you still at Desgru when you were at JG? Or did you move on?
No, I was just made JG when I went to crew dispatch staff.
Okay.
71 to 74.
Where'd you go after that?
I went to, I got to meet a lot of people while I was on crew dispatch staff. And when I got transferred from there, I went on the Samuel Gompers destroyer tender AD-37 that was home ported in San Diego. And I made part of 2 Westpacks on that ship in a year. And well, the CO of that ship had been on crude SPAC staff and asked me to come there. And after I'd been on there a year, I scheduled a relieve either the assistant repair officer or the chief engineer, because I'd made lieutenant by then. And out of the blue, I got a set of orders to USS Ranger as electrical officer. Another fantastic tour of duty.
Here in San Diego?
He's homeboarded here.
How long were you on Ranger for?
I was on there for 2 years. I think that was my 15th Westpac. Our deployment on Ranger, a 9-monther in 76. And that ship was in pretty bad material condition at the time. I think the pilots always knew how to find the Ranger, follow the slick.
Follow the slick, yeah.
Unbelievable. And when I left that, the ship had gone into Puget Sound Naval Shipyard for an overhaul.
Well, probably wasn't around much longer after that, was it?
They decommissioned in 91.
Oh, quite a few years after that then, yeah. So from Ranger?
Ranger I went to, at the time, was DOTC. The CO of DOTC, I worked with it a lot, again, when I was on crude SPAC staff.
What is DOTC? That one I'm not
That
familiar.
was Development and Training Center.
Got it.
At the time it became SEMA.
Okay.
But the CO, Frank Collins, is, to the best of my knowledge, was the only CO from that command that ever made admiral. Frank Collins, he is an unbelievable man. But I was there for 2 years, and I went there with and had the electric shop. I also had a hand in designing the new SEMA electric shop. The building is still standing, but not totally used as an electric shop. And at the time, I did highly recommend a rewind capability that they put into that new building, include impregnated insulation system that is now the state-of-the-art sealed insulation system motors, but they never did put it in the new facility.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all that's gone. I don't think they rewind.
I think they're getting ready to put it back.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, they want to go back to rewinding, but they did away with it when they decommissioned SEMA.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a shame because nobody knows how to rewind motors anymore. And was that your last duty station by any chance?
No. When I left SEMA, I went to, well, I was still on that Durham as a warrant, CWO2. I actually became the chief engineer for the last 6 months I was on there.
Got it.
So when I left the SEMA, I went to USS Juneau as chief engineer. And I retired from there in 1980.
How many years total?
21.
21. It's a lot of years. Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you.
So, a little bit of history of Mike South. Let's get a little bit of history of this fine automobile. So tell me about this automobile. When did you buy this truck?
Bought this truck in 2008. At the time I was working at PCE, Propulsion Controls Engineering, managing shop in Everett, Washington. And I'd always wanted a 57 Chevy pickup. I never made the time or took the time to restore one myself. But I had learned auto mechanics while I was still in high school. But and at one time I had 4 vehicles in our family. I maintained all of them. But again, I bought this from a dealership in Glenwood, Washington, Compact Car Corner spelled. They specialize in classic vehicles, and I bought it completely restored.
They did a beautiful job on it.
Yeah.
So you bought it in 2008, and then you brought it down here to San Diego when you transferred down PCE here in San Diego.
Right.
Do you drive it much?
Once a month.
Well, that's probably enough.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's walk around the truck and talk about it a little. All right, so we're going to do a walk around of this beautiful truck. Once again, here's Mike, and here's the 57. So, Mike, let's start with the engine. Can we get an assistance? We'll pop the hood. We'll take a look at the engine here, and let's talk a little bit about the engine. What size engine did you say was in here?
283. That's an original engine. Do have the heads and cams replaced on it right now to make it a 327.
Nice. I wish you guys could feel the paint on this. It has a beautiful paint job on it. So much room in this engine compartment, and you could crawl in here with the engine. And we were talking earlier, there's nothing electronic about this engine. It is points, condenser, you time it. A lot of you probably don't have a clue what that even means, but us that grew up working on our own vehicles, that's how you do it. All right, Mike, let's take a look around here. Tires. What size tire? Different size tires front and back, I take it.
Yeah, they're a little bit different.
You got the bigger ones in back. Looks nice.
And it does have sway bar in front and disc brakes in front, and old caliper brakes in back.
Okay. So this fender, this is not an original fender, is it?
Yeah, that's original.
Is it? They were that wide.
Yeah.
It's got a hell of a wide fender on
The
it.
only difference you can see all the way back is the gas cap. It does have a fuel cell underneath the truck bed instead of fuel tank was originally.
Oh, behind the seat. So the fuel was
Fuel was right here.
Was it here? Yeah, yeah. Let's take a look on the inside.
It's got bow ties on the doors.
Once again, for you that don't know, this is for manual for the windows.
And that's the bow ties. Chevy emblem on both doors and the
It's nice.
top.
Oh yeah. And for you that don't know, the Chevy emblem is a bow tie. I really hope everybody that's watching this may know that, but you never know.
And actually, my son put a.
Oh, there we go. Hello. For you that don't know, that's for the bright lights, that little button down there. That's where you touch it with your foot. And the emergency brake here. This is what we refer to as Armstrong steering. There's nothing hydraulically assisted with this.
And it does have a Corvette 4 on the floor transmission instead of the original column shift.
I like it. Of course, we got a little stereo modification here. We know that's not 57 Chevy original. I do like the way you did the radio, though.
Yeah.
How that's tied into it. Nice. Nice. I like it.
Should I pull the seat back?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, and that's the stereo mod.
One bass speaker. Nice.
And it's got like, on each side, it's got about 3 speakers here.
Did you mount all that in there?
Yeah.
All right, so my wife gets mad at me because she says I do not fade back far enough when I do these walk arounds. She's like, you don't walk around enough. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not a professional camera guy. I try to do the best I can here. This truck is so beautiful. I want to make sure we catch as much of it as we can. How about lights? Did you guys do LED lights on it, or did you just...
It's all on it. Haven't done it yet.
Well, you know, if you're not... Sorry about the post, people. You know, if you're not driving it at night, and you're surely not daily driving it, who cares? God, it's just beautiful. Is this an original Chevy color, this red?
I doubt it.
Yeah, it's kind of a, I won't say candy apple red, but it's
Red wagon red.
red wagon red. Yeah, it's definitely a nice red. Yeah, it's beautiful. Sorry, I'm gonna do a little impromptu lighting here. Let's get a better view. That's the beauty of my channel, because I can do whatever the hell I want. And then I can edit it or not. Yeah, that's nice. So Chevy 3100. So that was a designation in 1957 for a half ton?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known that. Other than you told me it's a half ton, I would have just had to guess at the 3100. So was a 3/4 ton what, a 3400 or?
I don't remember. Oh, there's one other thing I need to show you that I'll get out here.
Do I need to come over? Do I need to come over there? Can we look through the cab? Oh, do you have the owner's manual? No way. The original owner's manual? Where you at?
No. I told you I always wanted a 57 Chevy. I bought this at the Spring Valley Swap Meet many years before I ever bought this vehicle.
That's an original manual.
Yeah.
Awesome. Take another look at this engine. All right, Mike, can we go for a ride?
Sure.
Let's try to set the camera up and do a ride. We're gonna take it for a little run. Man, it runs pretty smooth.
Yeah. This truck does have a overdrive and a 2-speed rear end.
Oh, really? Just amazing how nice it is. Yeah, we can just go down here a little bit and we'll turn around and come back. Hey, sit up nice and high in it.
Yeah. Pretty comfortable driving with this size steering wheel.
Yeah. Yeah. So did you drive it down from Washington or did you tow it?
Put it on a trailer.
Yeah, probably a better idea.
Yeah. I have been to a couple of car shows. I wanted to take it to hot August nights at Lake Tahoe area.
Okay.
They have every year.
Have you put it in any show?
Only the one at Goodies at Del Mar.
Okay.
I think that's the only one.
I would think that you you find quite a few places to put it. Just
Yeah,
let people look
I think
around.
they still have one downtown Chula Vista in the summer.
I know El Cajon. I know El Cajon does one. They do one in the summer. I think every Friday night they do it. Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely. It's in beautiful condition. I mean, it's a shame not to show it off. Yeah, I love the seat.
Yeah, they put a lot into this.
Turn around up here if you want. If you like it. Gauges all work in it.
Yeah, the temperature gauges don't work and everything else does. And like I said, the speedometer didn't work when I first got it and had that replaced. It's actually pretty easy to find parts for this, except for the carburetor I had in it. It was a Holly. And it took a long time to find all the parts online for some reason.
When did your son put the new?
Just 2 months ago, we put the Edelbrock carburetor on.
Of course, you guys keep it inside.
Yeah, it's got to be, for insurance purposes, it's got to be in the garage.
Does that make the insurance cheaper? Just a stipulation with the insurance.
Stipulation with the insurance.
All for keeping cars inside. That's for sure. Yeah, it's a beauty. I just love the red. Yeah.
I think actually my favorite color is burgundy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I like the red.
Yeah, I think I actually, my other truck that I've always wanted to consider getting would be a 56 Ford pickup. I do actually have a model of a 56 Ford that my room
Yeah, it's a beauty here.
when I was growing up, everybody in our family had Chevys.
Yeah, my dad was a Chevy guy. We had, I think he had one. Yeah, it's not true. He had Fords and Chevys. He had one Toyota. I think he had a 70 Toyota pickup truck, and then he has 71 F100 Ranger. And then when we went up to Montana, got a 78 half-ton four-wheel drive Chevy and an 81 3/4-ton Chevy. And he had a newer one just before he passed away. I want to say that was a 99 or a 2000 Chevy pickup truck he had.
I think the first car I ever bought was a 54. I bought it for $150. I burned more oil than I did gas, and I bought it because I kept out of mechanics for, like I mentioned, 3 hours a day all through senior year in high school. We learned how to overhaul everything.
Man, they don't teach you that much anymore.
Yeah.
Well, once again, thanks for bringing it up. I really appreciate it. All right, so we'll wrap it up. Michael with Sailors with Cars. Remember, we're up to 25 people subscribed to the channel. Once again, thanks everybody that has subscribed. If you've never seen the channel before, please take a few minutes to watch a video. Subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it. We're trying to grow it. I understand that it takes time, but anybody that subscribes to the channel helps me out. If you watch the videos, that helps get onto the suggested video routine, and then more people can see them. So, with that, once again, Mike South, thank you very much
You're welcome.
for coming out.
Anytime, Mike.
Anybody that, as I said, anybody that interviews on the channel gets a Sailors with Cars hat. So, Mr. South, there you go, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank your son for also coming up. He's off camera, but he's over here. He got his hat, and I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I did. It's been raining here, which is not great for a May Day and Memorial Day weekend in San Diego, but we do get rain, and I appreciate Mike and his son bringing the car up here, the truck up here, so we could put it in the garage and interview it. So until next time, Sailors with Cars, I appreciate everybody watching. Thanks a lot.